Here along with Brother Tobias and Brother Gideon. Come again to bring you the word of the Most High, raw and uncut. We want to start off today with Colossians chapter 3, verse 17.
It's the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Yahushua, giving thanks to God and the Father by him.
Con. So everything we do is in the name of Yahweh Shai, giving thanks to the Father Yahweh. So I want to share this video real quick. The title of today's class is "You Ain't No Damn Jew." So this is where I got this title from. Stuff like this video right here. I've been told that myself. You ain't no damn Jew, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of you claiming Israel have been told that too. You ain't no damn Jew. All right. Let me start off with this video right here. This
Don't
video
forget
was
to say fair use.
this video fair use. This video was taken from one of the GMS brothers. I'm just gonna play the first part. I'm not gonna get into his commentary. So this video, let me know if you can hear this.
No, I can't hear no sound.
All right, hold on. Where's the audio? Audio. Where's the audio on this? Let me try this again. Try audio right here. All right, let me try this again. Let me know if you can hear this now.
Still no sound.
All right. Where's the sound? I don't see where. You still can't hear that video?
Shalom, y'all.
Hey, Shalom, sorry. No, I can't hear it up.
Okay. Okay, Con. Sorry about that audio issue. I can't get it to come across properly. The brothers on this video, he's talking about we got to let this Hebrew Israelite shit go. Ain't no way we could be the Hebrew Israelites. The Igbos ain't no Israelites. They don't never claim to be Israelites. He go into this long spiel about how we need to just let this go because it ain't no way we could be the Israelites. There's many more videos out here like that, but that one was the most recent one that I came across. And again, that was by a GMS brother that presented that. And I just in fact, and I saw that right after I decided to do this class, probably a day after I started to do this class, I saw that video, and I was like, God got a spirit that worked wonders, right? So so what we want to do, I want to kind of go through why we say we the Hebrew Israelites. For all you naysayers and gainsayers and everybody out there talking about y'all ain't the Israelites, ain't no way y'all could be the Israelites. We know the reason. The reason why y'all say that is because you've been told you a nigga all your life. And you was told that it was another group of people that was the quote unquote Jews, but when the truth starts to come out, then you want to kick against it, right? So let me get Titus 1:9, and let me get Luke 21:15. We're gonna have us a little history lesson today, and we're gonna show you. Now, it ain't our job out here to convince you who we are. We're just gonna give you the facts, and you can decide
Come.
for yourself, right? But these are the facts that you haven't had. These are the facts that you haven't been told, that just somehow didn't make it into our day-to-day learning, right? So give me Titus 1:9.
The book of Titus, chapter 1, verse 9. Holding fast the faithful word as he have been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and to convince the naysayers.
Right. So we're just gonna give you the sound doctrine, and hopefully we'll exhort those of you who need exaltation and convince those of you who just want to gainsay. And if we don't, ain't no big deal to us. We know you, maybe you just part of the 2/3, right? So give me Luke chapter 21, verse 15. Luke 21:15.
The book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 15. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to nainsay nor resist.
Con. Again, we're gonna give you this, and hopefully you gainsayers you know, see the light and come up off of that pride you got, because we know it's just pride that you're full of, right?
Come.
So there's this work called The Childhood of Art, and it actually goes in and it talks about how if you want to know a people's history, you look into the art, right? And toward the end of this book, it gets to talking about the land of Chaldea and how the Chaldeans are quote unquote black people. And historically, because of the racist viewpoint, everybody over in that area was supposed to be non-melanated or look like a European. But they finally came out and said that the Chaldeans was so-called black people, and Abraham is a so-called black man. And that's because they dug up the pottery and the artwork from that period, right? So now we established that Abraham is black. The book Moses in the book of Exodus, it shows that he puts his hand in his bosom and he takes it out, and it's leprous as snow. And when he puts it back in, it turned back to the color of his other flesh, right? He was in the land of Egypt. He was mistaken for an Egyptian. When the children of Israel went to mourn Jacob, a bunch of the Egyptians were with them. They called that Abel Mizraim, right? They was mourning for the Egyptians. They say it was a great mourning for the Egyptians, but they was burying Jacob, right? So they mistook them people all the time for Hamites. So
Come.
somebody give me Psalm chapter 105, verse 23. Psalm 105 and 23. And I don't want to dwell too long pre-Christ. I want to get right into the meat, starting with Christ and afterwards. But we got to go over this because it's a lot of dissension and pushback and lies being told about what we teach and why we teach what we teach, right? So we want to just get into this. Book of Psalm, chapter 105, verse 23.
The book of Psalms, chapter 105, verse 23. Israel also came into Egypt, and Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham.
So Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham, right? So now we're getting into, I saw another video where a quote unquote Christian coming and he's talking to some Israelites, and he gonna tell them Deuteronomy 28 ain't got nothing to do with the transatlantic slave trade, ain't got nothing to do with black people. Well, let's look at that together, right? So somebody give me Deuteronomy 28 and 15. We gonna hit this real quick.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Con, can y'all see that screen on the screen? Is it up on the screen?
Con.
Con. Now give me verse 37.
Verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, whether the Lord shall lead thee.
Right. So now that's what we get. We got African American, black, colored, Negro, nigger, all these porch monkey, coon, whatever you want to say. All these are bywords that were given to us by another nation, and they took away who our God-given name. They took it away, and it's all because we did not listen to the commandments of the Most High. Somebody, give me verse 45.
Verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee.
Con, right? So all these curses, what are these curses, right? It says, and these curses, read 46.
Verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
Now, so Israel broke the commandments of God, and now they got to suffer the curses. These curses are upon their seed forever. So these curses have to fit Israel to this day. So give me verse 64. Let's see if this applies.
Verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
So now it's plain to see there's in particular the one classification of people that was scattered all over the world to all the nations and serving other gods. There's like no congruent God among our people. Some of us are in the Islam, some of us are in the various forms of Christianity, some of us are even gone into Buddhism, and the like. So we was scattered all abroad the world in other nations to serve other nations, right? Keep reading 65.
Verse 65. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy feet have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing eyes, and sorrow of mind.
66.
And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life.
Now, there's one group of people, especially here in America, that this right here fits. If you're gonna tell me that this doesn't fit the people, the nation of people that we belong to, then something's wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with us, something wrong with you, right? If you don't think these curses apply to our people, and not just these, but every curse from 15 to 68 is applicable to our people. Because I know they're going to say, well, everybody, everybody don't fit every curse. There's only one group of people that fits every curse in this, and that's you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? Now, here's the kicker. Give me verse 68.
Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spoke unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondman and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Con. Now I keep going over this. I keep harping on this verse right here because it's two in particular things that we get pushback on concerning this verse. One is Egypt, and the second one is buy, and no man shall buy you. And we got some Christian apologists that hark on that, try to say no man shall buy you, yada yada yada. But we was slaves and people bought us, so that don't apply to us. That's the dumbest breakdown of this scripture I ever heard. But we're
Right.
gonna start off with and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again. The word Egypt, H4714, Mitzrayim. It's translated from Mitzrayim. It's Egypt. And the translators chose to translate the word Mitzrayim to Egypt, right? And it's if you see, it's the first definition: land of the Copts, a country at the northeastern section of Africa adjacent to Palestine. And keep that in mind now, it's adjacent to Palestine, and through which the Nile flows, right? But look at the second one: Egyptian equals double straight, right? And let's get into that double straights from the Ancient Hebrew Research Center. In almost every case, a person or place name in the Bible, which we know it by, is a transliteration of the Hebrew. For instance, the English Jerusalem is from Hebrew Jerusalem, Israel from Yasharallah, and Methuselah from Methuselah. This is not the case with Egypt. The Hebrew word for Egypt, Mitzrayim, is Mitzrayim. The first occurrence of this name is in Genesis 10:6, and the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mitzrayim, Foot and Canaan. Mitzrayim is the grandson of Noah and evidently settled in the land that came to be known as Mitzrayim to the Hebrews and Egypt today. Now check this out. The root to this name is Zar, meaning pressed or pressed in, and can be translated several different ways. Enemy, as one who presses in, trouble, as a pressing in, straight, as a canyon with walls pressing. A common method forming nouns is to add the letter mem to the front of a root. In this case, mem is placed before the root, forming metzar. The prefix mem can be understood as what is. Hence, metzar means what is pressed in, and is usually translated as trouble or straits. The suffix of the name Mitzrayim is the masculine plural suffix. The normal pronunciation for this suffix is in, usually a multiple plural, but can also be yin and is the double plural, right? So here's the point of all of this. The name Mitzrayim can be interpreted in many different ways: two straights, double straights, two enemies, double pressing, or even double trouble. While we cannot determine for certain what the original name meant, we can see some interesting parallels between Egypt and their relationship with the nation of Israel. So when you come up here and you tell us that we're wrong for translating this word Egypt to bondage, and the Bible's in Exodus chapter 20 and verse 2 says the Egypt is the land of bondage, and for you to tell us that we're wrong for using that, then you are sadly mistaken. You have an issue because you want to go by what you learned all your life, right? But the truth is that word doesn't just mean the land of the Copts. It means double straights, pressed in, double trouble, right? It also, or bondage, right? The second thing that we want to talk about is the word buy. The word buy is translated from kana. Kana means to get, acquire, create, buy, possess, right? And when you get down here, to buy, to be bought, to cause to possess. Look, it says buy, get, purchased, buyer, possessor, possessed, owner, recover, redeem, right? So we're telling you that the word buy up here also should be translated to redeem or purchase, right? Nehemiah 5:8. And I said unto them, we, after our ability, have redeemed our brethren. That's the same word, kana, to redeem, right? Psalm 74:2. Remember thy congregation which thou hast purchased, right? That's the same word, purchase, right? 7069. And it is used in buying back the nation of Israel. So we say Christ purchased us, Christ redeemed us. In the Hebrew, that word would be kana, right? So when we get back up here, for you to tell us that we're crazy for translating it or coming to the conclusion of this verse the way we do, there's a problem with you and your understanding. Because
Right.
the rest of the chapter, 50 on down, signifies that we was going to be in slavery. The verse we just read, verse 64, signified that we was going to be in slavery, right? So that's on you Christians if you can't get that. That's what those words are alluding to, and that's what those words mean, because that's what we teach. That word is just that, right? So give me Acts chapter 8, verse 27.
I got another precept just to back you up too, out to go along with another place where that word by is used for. So this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 11, verse 11. Ezekiel had brought this out to me. We were studying the other day. So this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 11, verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover. So that word for recover is the same word that I just brought out. You know what I'm saying? Use the same way to buy. You know what I'm saying? To redeem, basically to deliver. So it said the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which should be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the Isles of the sea. So I just wanted to bring that out just to, you know what I'm saying, further explain what that word means. You know what it means to
Con,
recover,
con, you in the
redeem,
spirit,
redeem his people.
you in the
You
spirit
got
on that.
it.
You in the spirit on that one, man. Read verse 12.
Verse 12. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
Con. Now you read that verse, and that map goes exactly with them two verses that you read.
Con,
This map right here, he gonna gather us from beyond the rivers of Cush. Cush is all Ethiopia, right? Look at this. This is a map from the 1600s, right? It's got Oceanus Aethiops, right? This ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, was called the Ethiopian Ocean, right? Or Cush. This is the Cush. The islands behind the Cush is where the children of Israel were scattered. So they're gonna go beyond the rivers of Cush and gather the children of Israel, the children of Judah, right? So as you can see, this map is called the Atlantic Ocean now, but it was the Ethiopian Sea, right? So that was all in the spirit that you, because that was the very next verse that I had pulled up too.
con, all praise.
Right, right. So Acts 8 and 27.
The book of Acts, chapter 8, verse 27. And he arose and went, and behold, a man of Ethiopia, and eunuch of great authority on the Candace, queen of the Ethiopians, who had charge of all her treasures, and had come to Jerusalem for worship.
Right. So this is an Ethiopian. Yeah, y'all talk about the Ethiopian, yada yada yada. Why was he going to Jerusalem to worship if he was a Ethiopian by nation? Right? Because this man is a quote unquote Jew. If you go read Acts chapter 2, it started verse 5, it'll tell you that these Jews was coming from all these nations. This man of Ethiopia was coming to worship you, but he was a Jew. The Ethiopian eunuch is a Jew, right? Give me Luke 21, 22 through 24. Luke chapter 21, verse 22 through 24.
Luke chapter 21, verse 22. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Con. So this is your Lord and Savior, Mashiach Yahweh Shai, telling us that we're going to be led away captive into all nations. What nation of people, what group of people, what people was led captive into all nations, right? That's a question you got to ask yourself. And not only that, it also falls in line with the curses written in Deuteronomy that we're going to be led away captive into all nations. So, how's the Most High going to gather us from all the nations on the other side of the world? That's where we are now from here. If we weren't spread and scattered to all these nations, right? Give me Daniel chapter 9. Start at 9 and go to 14.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 9, verse 9. To the Lord our God belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our God to walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants the prophets. Yea, all Israel have transgressed by thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him. And he have confirmed his words which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us by bringing upon us great evil. For under the whole heaven had not been done that have been done upon Jerusalem, as it is written in the law of Moses. All this evil is come upon us, yet may we not our prayer before the Lord our God, that we might turn from our iniquities and understand our truth. Therefore have the Lord watched upon the evil and brought it upon us. For the Lord our God is righteous in all his works which he doeth, for we obey not his voice.
And that's the whole point of this. Like, under the whole heaven has not been done as what was done to the children of Jerusalem. And that's evident. Is no history in the world. You'll never see this again. Right? The Lord said, you shall see this no more again. You'll never see a whole nation, a group of people scattered throughout the four corners of the earth as brutally and as horribly as we were. There's no
Con,
nation on earth that was done like our people were. None. Right? And the Lord wants us to repent of our ways, and we getting more and more evil. And the last days are upon us, and we getting more and more evil. We implore you to repent, right? And that's part of the reason why I'm doing this class. I've been saying I would do this for a while, but part of the reason is because our people don't want to repent. So now let's get into some of the history. All right. You ain't no damn Jew. A look at the children of Israel from a historical perspective, right? This is from Tacitus Histories 5.2 through 5. Translation here was by Kenneth Wellesley, right? The Jews are said to have been refugees from the island of Crete who settled in the remotest corner of Libya in the days when, according to the story, Saturn was driven from his throne by the aggression of Jupiter. This is a deduction from the name Judea, by which they became known. The word is to be regarded as barbarous, lengthening of Idea, the name of the people dwelling around the famous Mount of Ida in Crete. A few authorities hold that in the reign of Isis, the surplus population of Egypt was evacuated to neighboring lands under the leadership of Hieronymus and Judas. Many assure us that the Jews are descended from those Ethiopians who were driven by fear and hatred to immigrate from their home country when Cephas was king, right? So here we have the historian Tacitus, and he says that the Israelites or the Jews were descended from the Ethiopians, right? So that just goes into showing us, like, I'm just establishing that there was a people of color then, and we still a people of color,
con,
right? My second source is from Philo. Philo was a Hellenized Jew in Alexandria, Egypt, and he lived the time Christ was alive, right? Knowing that the city had two classes of inhabitants. We're talking about Alexandria, Egypt right now, right? Our own nation and the people of the land, and that the whole of Egypt was inhabited in the same manner, and that the Jews who inhabited Alexandria and the rest of the country from Catabathamus on the side of Libya to the boundaries of Ethiopia were no less than 1,000,000 men, right? So our second source, we got over 1,000,000 Jews in Egypt, right? So for you to say that that the Jews was taken into Egypt on ships, well, most of them died on the way. There was already over 1,000,000 Jews in Egypt. So now, what's going on with this prophecy? And the Lord shall bring you into Egypt again with ships. There was already at this time over 1,000,000 Jews in Egypt, right? So we need to go on and get rid of that argument against us being the Israelites, because it's a weak argument, right? So then we got 70 CE from Babylon to Timbuktu by Rudolph Windsor, right? Page 84. In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. So this is 65 years before Christ. Roman armies captured Jerusalem. Now, in 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, that's from 65 BC to 70 AD, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1,000,000 Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. And then he goes on to say the slave markets, talking about during the transatlantic slave trade, were full of black Jewish slaves, right? So that we got three sources for you to consider when you try to combat us or you try to gainsay us during our historical research, right? So right here I got a map of North Africa during the Roman Empire, right? So this is Egypt. This is what was Egypt, right? This was Libya, where you see Cyrenaica, Africa. As you can see, Africa was named for General Leo Scipio Africanus, but he took that name after he defeated those people, right? Those people were the descendants of Abraham. You go read in the book of Genesis, Abraham had 6 more sons, and this part of Africa was named after one of his children, right? And this is Cyrenaica, where Simon or Cyrene was from there, right? And you got Mauritania, Numidia, all this, right? And so here's what Jerome says about all this part of Rome. All right, let's see. Jerome, in his letter to Dardanus, wrote that the Jews in his time was spread from the extreme west of Mauritania, Morocco, to India, and that they did not speak Hebrew, which suggests that the local proselytes were the main body of the Jews he wrote of. Well, that's just the author's opinion. We know that since the time of Alexander and before, Jews were spread out all over and didn't speak their native tongue. The Jews in Egypt didn't speak Hebrew. They spoke Greek, right? The Jews in that's why they had to have the tongues come down on the apostles at the Feast of Pentecost, so everybody could understand them, right? So this right here is just the author's opinion, as far as that they were proselytes. Like I don't consent to that theory. All right, further on, let's go back. This right here is another map of Africa. As you can see, they had Egypt, right? Libya Inferior. They had Libya Superior on the other side. This is the other side over here, where you got Libya Superior. And then the Jews covered all that area, Libya Inferior, Libya Superior, all the way over to what's called Morocco today and Mauritania, right? All up in this area, all over here. It was full of our people, full of Jews, right? So a short history of the Copts in their church by Taqiyya Dil El Makrizi. All right, I got this book too, but in chapter 5 of this book, it goes into an account of how the Christians from among the Copts of Egypt came under the yoke of the Muslims or the Muslims, right? So this is 600. This is about 600 AD. Talking about right here. Know that the land of Egypt, when the Muslims or the Muslims entered it, was full of Christians. Keep that in mind. It was full of Christians. How far back did I? But the Christians were divided into two sects, both as to race and religion. Keep that in mind. They divided themselves by race and religion. The one part was made up of men about the court and public affairs, all Greek, from among the soldiers of Constantinople, the seat of government of Rome. Their views, as well as their religion, were for all of them Melkite. You got the Melkites. The Greeks were the Melkites, and their number was above 300,000. The other portion was the whole people of Egypt. So now people that weren't Greek soldiers, their religion was not Melkite. They were the Jacobites, right? Who were called Copts and were of a mixed descent, among whom one could not distinguish. Keep this in mind, among whom one could not distinguish Copt from the Abyssinian, Nubian, or Israelite. And they were all Jacobites. So now they telling us that the Israelites, the Nubians, the Abyssinians, and the Egyptians all looked alike, and you couldn't tell them apart, as opposed to the Greeks. And we know who the Greeks were, right? And that's around 600 AD. Now we got from the Midrash. This is from the Jewish Talmud. Take it for what you want to take it, but it's in their record, right? This is from Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, and he lived from the Midrash went from 630 to 1030 CE. So keep this in mind. This part of the Midrash was written from 630 to 1030 CE, right? It says Noah brought his sons and his grandsons, and he blessed them with their several settlements, and he gave them as an inheritance all the earth. He especially blessed Shem and his sons, making them dark but comely. And that what Solomon said in Song of Solomon 1:5. I am dark but comely. And he gave them the habitable earth. And that's from the Midrash. That's from the Talmud that them so-called people over with the small hats. This is what their book says, right? But they won't tell you that because they changed that. I've seen it did where they changed this to fair. I've actually seen that. They actually changed that in some. But we're not changing nothing, right? So now, about 709 AD, we start to get the spread of Islam, the Muslim conquest. the Mussulmans, right? So in 709 AD, they conquered the North African campaigns were part of the century of rapid early Muslim conquest, right? It's when the Muslims conquered North Africa. And when you say, well, you got all these Israelites, they a lot of these guys was converted during this period to Islam, right? And the sources I got this from are Lost Tribes of Myth by Alan Godby. That book is hard to find. I got the PDF copy of it because the book was like $3,000. And I value knowledge, man, but I'm not gonna pay $3,000 for a book when I just got the PDF for free. Right? Page 223 of Lost Tribes of Myth by Alan Godby. In the Wargla Oasis of Algeria, 350 miles from the Mediterranean, is a colony of Jews as black as Negroes, but of Jewish type, right? So this is what they're saying. In Wargla, Algeria is now where that little strip of Africa was, what I showed you earlier, right? That little strip of the Roman Empire that said Africa, that's what Algeria is today, right? So you know we had Jews all throughout that area, right? And it says about Morocco, though Muslim now, they still have some Jewish customs and Jewish names. And Arabs assert that were Jews to recapture the famous local sanctuary, these tribes would immediately become Jews again, right? So then after that, after they conquered North Africa, they conquered the Iberian Peninsula, which is Spain and Portugal, right? The Muslim, it happened approximately 711 to 720, and it lasted all the way down to the 1400s, right? So now that we got that there was Jews all over North Africa, Spain, and Portugal before 700 Common Era. What happened that now people think that there's another group of people that's the Jews? Well, in 740 Common Era, the Khazars entered the scene. The Khazars were a semi-nomadic people who in the late 6th century CE established an empire covering the southeastern section of modern European Russia, southern Ukraine, Crimea, and Kazakhstan. Sometime around the year 740, the king and ruling class, followed by members of the general population, decided to convert to Judaism. The kingdom of Khazaria long served as a buffer between the Christian Byzantine Empire and the Islamic Umayyad and the Abbasid Caliphates. And again, that can be found in Lost Tribes of Myth and also the 13th Tribe by Arthur Kessler, who y'all say, a lot of y'all apologists like to say you debunked that one. Well, something funny just came about. The letter of Rabbi Hasdai, son of Isaac ibn Shaprut, to the king of the Khazars about 960 CE. So now we're getting a little bit. So for 200 years, there was a people saying they were Jewish. So let's see what this letter says. I, Hasdai, son of Isaac, son of Ezra, belonging to the exiled Jews of Jerusalem in Spain, a servant of my Lord the king, bow to the earth before him and prostrate myself towards the abode of your majesty from a distant land. I rejoice in your tranquility and magnificence and stretch forth my hands to God in heaven that he may prolong your reign in Israel. Praise be to the beneficent God for his mercy towards me. Kings of the earth, to whom his magnificence and power are known, bring gifts to him, conciliating his favor by costly presents, such as the king of the Franks, the king of the Gebalim, Otto the Great of the Holy Roman Empire, the king of Constantinople, and others. All their gifts pass through my hands, and I am charged with making gifts in return. Let my lips express praise to the God of heaven. Right, so Hasdai was this Jew in Spain. He wrote a letter to to the Khazars. And lo and behold, the letter of Joseph the king, son of Aaron the king, the Turk. Wait a minute, this guy's a Turk. Oh, well, how did that happen? And part of his reply, because I'm not going to read the whole letter, you can go find these letters online. When we get to the important part, said, you ask us also in your letter, of what people, of what family, and of what tribe are you? Know that we are descended from Japhet through his son Togarmah. Now, it's not, I've done research on Togarmah. He's the father of all the Turks. He's the brother of Ashkenaz. Ashkenaz and Togarmah were sons of Gomer. Togarmah is the father of the Turks. And I have found in the genealogical books of my ancestors that Togarmah had 10 sons. These are their names. The eldest was Ujir, the second Taurus, the third Avar, the fourth Uguz, the fifth Basil, the sixth Tarna, the seventh Khazar, the eighth Janner, the ninth Bulgar, and the 10th Sawir. If you go look at all these names in this list, these are the Turks. They're just different tribes of Turks. And the Khazars were of that stock, are Turks, right? I am a descendant of Khazar, the seventh son. So now we know that these people are descended from Turks in history. Hold on one second. Let me see why. Anybody got anything to add before I know this going kind of long, but I wanted to get this knocked out, trying to go through it pretty fast. Is everybody following along?
Okay.
Good.
All right, so let's get down here to the Iberian Peninsula. The Iberian Peninsula is where Spain and Portugal are. Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand forced out the Moors from Spain in the late 15th century. The Moors were Muslim inhabitants of the Iberian Peninsula who had ruled parts of Spain for centuries. Isabella and Ferdinand wanted to unite Spain under Christian rule and establish religious and political unity, right? The conquest of Granada in 1492 marked the end of Moorish rule in Spain. So you know the Moors ruled Europe from 711 to 1492. So that was over 1,000 years, well, close to 1,000 years that they ruled, right? Now we got the Alhambra Decree, also known as the Edict of Expulsion. It's when the Spains kicked the Jews out of Spain, right? A lot of them went to Portugal to find rest, right? So that's the Alhambra Decree that was issued on 31st March 1492. Told them Jews to get out of Spain, right? Also, Spain instituted the Spanish Inquisition in 1478 before decreeing the expulsion of all Jews from Spain in 1492. Tens of thousands of Spanish Jews fled Spain, including to Portugal, where King John II granted them asylum in return for payment. However, the asylum was withdrawn after 8 months when the Portuguese government decreeing the enslavement of all Jews, who had not left Portugal. And in 1493, King John deported several hundred Jewish children to the newly formed colony of Sao Tome. Today it's called St. Thomas, where many of them perished. St. Thomas is right on the west coast or the Guinea coast, the so-called Guinea coast of Africa, right? So we see that the Jews we back into slavery. on ships, right? Back into slavery on ships. That's the common theme here. Now, the auto de faith or act of faith, this was really part of the Inquisition too. From the 8th to the 15th centuries, much of Spain was controlled by Muslims. Around the 11th century, growing suspicions of Jews prompted Christians to unite against the Muslims and Jews. So now the Christians are coming against the Muslims and the Jews. This is part of the reason for the Christian doctrine. It's part of the reason that that the Christians hate Jews. And that's why your mama don't want you to be no damn Jew. And that's why people telling you you ain't no damn Jew. Because there's an anti-Semitic vibe right here. But it's directed toward the quote unquote black Hebrew Israelite. Because you a nigga and you can't be God's chosen people. Right? And that's where this idea comes from. It permeates from the act of faith. Right? In the 14th century, Dominican and Franciscan priests called on Christians to expel the Jews from Spain, blaming Jews for social problems and stirring the Christian majority to destroy synagogues, burn Jews alive, and impose forced conversion. Ain't that what happened to our people in slavery? They destroyed our churches. They did that after slavery. They burned us alive and they imposed their Christian values on us, right? All right. So the book, The Earth and Its Inhabitants, right? Page 79. The Jews expelled from Portugal at the beginning of the 16th century were also condemned to slavery and distributed over various districts in San Miguel. That's another African island, right? They keep putting us in slavery, right? Page 410. A part of the local trade is in the hands of the Mavumbas, a people of grave and solemn aspect with intelligent eyes, straight or even aquiline nose, whose pronounced Semitic type has earned for them in the Portuguese designation of Judeos Pretos, or Black Jews. So the Mavumba is another tribe of Jews that they located in the Guinea coast on Africa, right? They may certainly be regarded as of Jewish origin if the statement be true that they are strict observers of the Sabbath, abstaining even from all conversation on that day. According to the natives, the Mavumbas were expressly created by God to punish other mortals by reducing them to poverty. Because why? That's why the Jews got kicked out of every country they were in. They say they were charge too high interest rates and breaking the nation. That's why quote unquote Adolf, that was one of his beefs against the so-called Jews, right? Here's another article by Henry Aberson. He's a well-known small hat to this day. He wrote this article July 19, 2018, when Jews were illegals, they took away our children, right? And he got this map right here. He's showing all these places, but guess what he didn't show? What we just read about them going into Africa. Even though he mentions it in this article, he doesn't show anything about us being down into Africa. I wonder why, right? That's part of the con, right? That's just part of the con. Say there were Jews living in Sudan, Algeria, Dahomey, Yoruba, Morocco, Mauritania. There was the Lam community west of Timbuktu, and there were settlements of Jews all along the Niger River on both sides. Again, that's found in Lost Tribes of Myth, and it's also found in a lot of other works that's out there. All right. Here's a map. I don't know if you guys can see this very well. This is Negro Land, the Negro Land map. You say Upper or Proper Guinea, right? And on this map, I want you to see something very interesting. I got a close-up cut of this map. On this map, you see the Kingdom of Judah. Kingdom of Judah. Because the people who made this map knew that this whole area was full of quote unquote Jews. Those own people knew. And this map from 1770, what's the date of this map? 17, it's in the mid 1746, I think. 1747. Right? This is the Negro Land map. All you gotta do is go online and look it up. You'll see it was called the Kingdom of Judah along the slave coast. Because this was, it says right here, the slave coast, the Gold Coast, the Ivory Coast. All this is where they grabbed our people from. Right? Kingdom of Judah on the slave coast in the middle of Africa. Even in the movie The Woman King, they had the right concept, but they told the history backwards, right? Them Africans sold our people. And they know they did. Anybody got anything to add so far? Everybody follow along so far?
Good.
All right, so now we in the 1400s now. So let me go ahead and get this wrapped up. Just so y'all don't think that we're ignorant and don't read, because y'all say black people don't read, right? Nature Knows No Color Line is 1952 copyright by J.A. Rogers, Joel Augustus Rogers. This the book, Nature Knows No Color Line, right? On page 122 and 123, it references this book right here, The Natural History of Man, written 1845 by James J.C. Pritchard. And on page 145 of this book, it says, especially dark were the Jews of Spain and Portugal. The Portuguese Jews were very dark, says Pritchard, right? And that's in this book, The Natural History of Man. And that's quoted by J.A. Rogers in his book. Also, he references another work. He references the memoirs of Madame la Duchesse de Brontes. This was in 1835, you know, by Laura Juno Brontes. She was the wife of one of Napoleon's officers. And she writes in volume 5, chapter 26 of her memoirs, the Jew, the Negro, and the Portuguese could be seen in a single person. And so why is she saying that? And we know all the Portuguese that they got kicked the Jews out of Spain, right? And we got another work, Jewish Pirates of the Caribbean by Edward Chrysler, written in 2009. On page 214, he has a comment by John Greenhall. He says, when I was in the synagogue, I counted about 100 Jews, all merchants, not one mechanic person of them. Most were rich in apparel with various jewels glittering. That's just like our people, man. We flossing. We flexing back here, right? In the synagogue flexing, right? For they are the richest jewelers of any. They are generally black and may be distinguished from Spaniards or native Greeks. Their hair a more perfect raven black, right? So the problem with us learning our history is because y'all hide our history. And how do y'all hide our history? Y'all scatter it in different works. And y'all just put it in pieces. So we got to go and find all this work. And we found it for you. But you still don't believe us when we tell y'all that, right? So now we got this book a geographical description of the 4 parts of the world. And this was in 1670 by Monsieur Sanson. And this book was presented to King Charles II of England. So this dude ain't gonna lie to the king. On page 20 of this work, he says, after the death of our Savior Jesus Christ, all this country was called the Holy Land. The people which anciently possessed this country were the Jews, being of middle stature, strong of body, of a black complexion, goggle-eyed, a subtle and ingenious people, and such as will live in any place, much given to traffic, usury, and brokerage, not lending without pledges, and taking forfeitures of them, So this book, yeah, like I said, we had to find these books and show them to our people, because all they gonna do is go by and say what they think they should say, right? And again, this book was presented to King Charles II of England, the Black Boy of England. King Charles II was called the Black Boy of England. Go figure that, right? So now I kind of ran through that real fast, right? But I got these books, I got this, and I got more, right? I got more than just this right here. But I just wanted to go over that so to show y'all why we believe what we believe. That's just a short breakdown from the time of Christ up to now, right? And the reason why what's true changes, what's true in a society changes from generation to generation, right? Which was true in 1865 for our people. Well, let's say 1850. What was true in 1850 for our people, that was not the same truth in 1900. What was true in 1900 didn't have the same truth in 1950. And the same truth in 2000 ain't the same truth that was in 1950. And that's what we keep trying to tell y'all. Y'all so narrow-minded and closed-minded that all y'all want to do is believe exactly what you were taught and don't want to expand your horizons, right? But again, that was just a short presentation. We got more than that. That was just a small subset of what we have to show who we are as a people, right? But like I said, just go back over the video, go get those books I showed you. I quoted the book, the year of the book, the author of the book. All you got to do is look up the information, and then you decide if we telling the truth or if we lying. You know what? We can't make you believe us, right? That's the bottom line. So that was my presentation for today. Anybody got anything? Anybody got any scriptures they want to bring out?
Yeah. I got one. I was just looking at the video that you are trying to play, and it's saying we gotta let this Hebrew stuff go, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I went to the Legacy Museum in Montgomery Thursday. Man, when you just walk in that museum, I'm talking about from the soon as you get in there and see that whole everything that they got, you can see Deuteronomy 28. Man, when you first walk in there, you see the ships coming across the water. Then as you get under, you see the blacks being sold. When you get in there, you see Deuteronomy 28:6. Then you'll see Deuteronomy 28:4, where the yokes of iron around the neck. You see they being sold. You see how they're being treated. I'm talking the whole time, man. You walk in that museum. Anybody that haven't been to that museum, go to that museum and look at that museum. And if you'd have been to that museum and then read Deuteronomy 28, and you don't think that talking about us, man, you part of the 2/3. Man, when you see video like that video, man, these people are Americanized. And if it ain't the white man saying it, they don't want to hear. And then you read books that the white man wrote. The books you just read, these are books written in the 16, 17, 1800s. Books that came out when we couldn't read, when we didn't supposed to read. These were white eyes only books. And you go back
Right.
and you read these books and you bring all the stuff you just brought out. And they see this and they be like, man,
Right.
take any Negro watching this right now. If you take all American holidays away from them, all the tradition away from them, who are they? What they gonna celebrate?
Right.
Black. We ain't got no culture. We
Right.
as black people, we have no culture. If you take all American holidays from them, what we gonna celebrate? Because these white people holidays that they run around celebrating, the Christmas, the Easter, the 4th of July, these they holidays that they are celebrating. You take that stuff away from them, black people lost. Yeah, you can't say culture is in. Everybody can cook. You can't say culture in cooking. Anything we do, we get it from them. Put a spice on it, made it look good, but it still come from them. Ain't nothing
Right.
we do is part of our original our original culture. If you look back and you can only go to slavery and that's where your history begin, man, everything they give us gonna look like progress because we just started. Look where we been. So they give us hip hop. Oh man, we making progress. They put a black senator in office. Oh man, we making progress. Anything they give us gonna look like progress because we start our history as slavery. We don't know that we were how great of a people that we were before we broke these laws of God. I want to bring out Hosea 4:6. And this is the reason we messed up as a people. And we bring these things out and say, look, we in this position because we broke the laws of God. And then you get somebody like that saying, man, y'all gotta let this stuff go. If we let that go, then what we got? What, we gonna follow you? What then what? Well, we're gonna follow hip hop music, we're gonna follow Drake, Ice Cube, what we gonna follow? We gotta let it go, but then when we let it go, then you ain't got the solution of what we should follow. Hosea 4:6. It says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, and that's us. The books you brought out, I don't care how many times they look at this video, you may get one person that go and see it and see if you telling the truth about these books. The enemy already know. If I put it in a book, these niggas ain't gonna read. If I'll put it in a book, they ain't gonna read it, and then I come and tell them, you know what? Them Hebrew Israelites lying. Y'all, they ain't that. And they gonna believe the words out of our mouth because they've been programmed to believe these words because of the lack of knowledge. They won't go and read. They won't go and research. But then we do the research and they tell us, oh man, y'all know what y'all talking about. But we the one doing the research. We got the books. We reading the books. We bringing it out. And you telling us we don't know what we talking about. It said, because thou reject knowledge, I will also reject thee, because we reject this knowledge and we Americanize everything America say. That's what we run with. All the history they give us, they tell us what our history is. We run with it. So God said, you reject me, I'm gonna reject you. That thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. God said, you forgot these laws, and that's what we bring out. This is why we in the condition we in, because we broke the law. God said, you forgot my law, I'm gonna forget you. Go. You want to be like your enemy? Go be like your enemy. Go serve their God. Let that God get you out of trouble. And we've been running behind their gods. We've been running behind this flag. We've been running behind this religion. Everything that they gave us, we've been running behind it, looking for a people that can't save us. And God sitting back laughing and look at them dummies. Hey, look at them. Look at them. Until we turn back into our true culture, and that's this Bible, that's the word, and who we are, we always gonna be in the position to be at the bottom, and we're gonna be looking at each other like you got these new Christians that coming out. They don't even know the Bible. They just want to sound smart. As long as they just want to try to sound smarter than you. And that same video you finna play, these dudes just want to sound smarter than us. They go to college or school and they get they learn about 2 or 3 big words and think they know more than somebody, you know, and they appeal to the masses of people like, oh, that boy sound intelligent. I think he know what he talking about. But you got us, we ain't got all these big fancy words, but we know what we talking about. You know, we may not be the highest, we may not have no PhD, but I guarantee you can research what we talking about, and it is there, you know. And that's all they doing, man. For a lack of knowledge, we have been destroyed as a people. And like I said, you go to that museum, man, you look at that museum, man, I'm talking about everything we talk about, man. I'm in there, I'm like, God, bro, the scripture, I'm just seeing scriptures as I walk through them, man. They just going through my head. I'm like, golly, that's there. Man, it's just amazing me, man, that I mean, you and it's in Montgomery, so you know a whole lot of people in Montgomery that went. And it just amazed me, like, what gonna wake us up? You know, like I said, if you don't wake up on some of this stuff, man, like Kazaa said in the beginning of the lesson, man, you part of the 2/3. That's all. Ain't nothing we can do. But back to you out.
Yeah, yeah, man. If I can add too, man, like all that history you just went into, you know what I'm saying, and how you show how, you know what I'm saying, the scriptures, the curses, and the history apply to us. So if you say the blacks, if people are saying we're not the true Jews, and black Spanish and Native Americans not the Israelites, then who are? Because if you believe that those people, those small heads there over there in the land are the true Israelites, then you know what I'm saying, tell them to provide the history like we just provided in this class right here to show you how they fit these curses. They can't. It's only one ethnicity of people, group of people that can show throughout history how all those curses, you know what I'm saying, apply to us. Those people over there in the land, they can't show you not, they can't go through not one of those curses, you know what I'm saying, and show you how does it fit them. Deuteronomy 28:6, like you brought out earlier. Show us, you know what I'm saying, let them go into that and show us how they went into slavery on ships. Show us how they were scattered throughout the four corners on the earth on ships. Show us how they're in other nations at the bottom serving other nations. God, they can't. You know why? Because they in rulership now. They the top
Right.
nation on the earth. And matter of fact, they are the ones who help supply and fund those same ships that we was on, that we were being scattered throughout the four corners on the earth. You know what I'm saying? And if they are the true Jews, then who did this verse right here apply to? This is the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 9. It said, I know thy works in tribulation and poverty. So, you know what I'm saying? Who's in poverty right now? Because it's showing those people. Those small heads are not in poverty, man. You know what I'm saying? Those are some of the richest people on the face of this earth. They were in Hollywood. They own all these media sites that we own. They own all that. They own all the record companies, all the record labels. So how the hell are they in tribulation and they in poverty when they the top nation on the earth? But it's one nation of people that's in tribulation, that's in poverty, man. We getting shot down on the street. We at the bottom. Every nation, every country, land, nation we in, who's at the bottom in those cities and those lands? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. It said, thou art rich. Why? Because all these promises, the promises that were made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, those are our forefathers. You know what I'm saying? So we're spiritually rich. Why? Because you know what I'm saying, the kingdom to come belongs to us. And it said, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So who is that referring to? Who been going around saying they're the Jews and are not, man? You know what I'm saying? Those people was put in that land around 1948. You know what I'm saying? With the Balfour Declaration, the United Nations put those people in that land, man. Prior to that, you know what I'm saying, they was not in that land, man. That was a whole conspiracy and a plot to get them people in that land to, you know what I'm saying, to push the them being guys who chose the people. In order to push them being guys who chose the people, of course they had to tell us, had to say we would. They had to say we was African American, like the curse of the all going into. We were called byword. Now, byword is a name outside your nationality. So they call the true Israelite African American, Latino, Jamaicans, Haitians. All those was a plot to, you know what I'm saying, to get the true Israelite history thrown out the earth, man. But that's it.
And just to make up another point, man, about that byword business. Like I said, your grandmama, your mama, you and your child probably got all y'all probably got different description of what you was born as. One of them probably say colored, one of them probably say Negro, one of them probably say black, one of them probably say African American. Just check it out, and that's just 4 generations, and that's how they don't respect us, right? How you black, but your child is African American. Well, but your grandmama Negro, and your granddaddy colored. Like it's crazy, man. Like they don't have no respect for our people, and we don't have no respect for ourselves. For you to
Right.
say that,
Con.
like, I bet you he ain't go to no other body else and make no video like that, right? I was just saying, man, I had some guys on the job the other day that came on the truck. I gave them some flyers. I passing out flyers, man. And I was just like, yeah, man, y'all know we Israel. And then I was like, yeah, we the ones y'all said we seen on the street corner and y'all call it crazy. I was like, and then he was got to talking about it, man. Everybody know we Israel, but they scared to say we Israel,
Con.
right? Go to the barbershop. Everybody know that you are Israelite. When you go up in the barbershop, everybody know you are Israelite. Everybody agree with what you say, but they won't do nothing you say, right? Because what we say is a sweet song to their ears, but they don't want to keep God's law, right?
Con.
Con.
And then partly
And
of
like you
that,
said,
yeah, partly because they don't believe we the Israelites. All right, go
con,
ahead.
con.
Con.
Like you were saying, man, like we was calling everything else. You know what I'm saying? Prior to around about what 1980s, when they put
Mm-hmm.
Reverend Jesse Jackson up to start basically pushing that African American, you know what I'm saying, term on us. But before that, like you said, we was calling everything else, man. But now we're going around, you know what I'm saying, as a nation, mostly calling our people African American. Like you brought out earlier, man, America is named after a so-called white man. You know what I'm saying? Amerigo Vespucci. Africa, like you said, was named after one of Abraham's sons, man. So we're saying we're two, you know what I'm saying, coming from two different continents. I was watching a video last night where a brother called in to a Hebrew Israelite radio show saying the same type of stuff. But we're not the Israelites. So then they asked the brother, well, who are we? First thing he said, well, African American. They said, so
Yeah.
we're two different continents. Because that's how our people think, man.
Con.
We believe we can be everything and everybody else. But guys, you chosen people, man. Even if we as a whole was going around saying we was the ancient Egyptian, it wouldn't be too much of a
Nobody would
backlash
say that.
behind that. You know what I'm saying? We can be everybody under the sun, but who we really are, man. That's God chose people. They hate that because they know if we coming back into the knowledge of who we truly are, man. That's the end. They know that's the end of their kingdom, man. That's something that they don't want to see, man. The true God, truth. We did everything we could to keep these people oppressed and from learning who they are. We set up schools to keep them from learning who they are. We set up religious institutions to keep them from learning who they are. All these things, you know what I'm saying? We put drugs in their community. We gave them sport. We did all these things to keep them from learning who they are, and they still found it out. Now it's a problem, man. You know what I'm saying? Now they got to demonize it. So
Right.
you got to
And,
know.
and like I said, we got
Con.
way more books than what I just brought out. We got way more stuff than that. I just ain't want this class to be no 4-hour class, right? Cause
Yeah.
I
And then
could
the
I
other
could get
thing,
yeah. Go ahead.
that other thing, you think about it, like all these religions been here. Like I'm talking about, you just go through Catholic, all the Christian, the Baptist, Methodist, all these churches been here, and soon as we arrive on the scene, it's a problem with everything we do, everything we say. Even you know how they used to be like, oh, but they still do. They talk about how the uniform, like when you got your garments on, they make fun of it. You know, they want to call you a Power Ranger. They want to call you, man, just think about how the Captain Priest dress. Them little stupid pants they have on, the big robes and the jumper. He dressed the same way. Your Christian pastor up there, he in a robe. Nobody say nothing about it. But as soon as we come out with this truth, oh man, look how y'all dress. Why y'all dress like that? Oh, why y'all talk like that? Why you move like that? Who is it? It is a problem with everything you do. You know? And they, like I said, like we've been saying the whole time, man. The proof, we see the proof. When you brought out 66 earlier when we first started about and they life shall hang in doubt before thee. You think about, I don't care if you believe this or not. You ain't got to believe, you know, you just got to know that you're a black person in America. Driving your car and let those blue lights turn on behind you. Watch how you tense up. Everything about you can be right. And you don't think you under their curse? Man, I done seen video where white people get out and fight the police with sticks and stuff, and don't they happen to them. We got to have our hands at 10-2 at all times. And what I forgot the dude's name, but they told him to get his license. He reached for a license and they killed him. I done seen a white lady get out of a car on the video and chase the police with a knife. Did not die. Man, and you think this ain't talking about you? That's why every time when them blue lights come on, I don't care. You ain't got to have. I ain't never had a felony. I ain't never been in trouble for nothing. I ain't nothing. them blue light gets on, you start to think, oh man, I hope I ain't the next. Because we see the history. We see the history of these people from the time we got over here up until 2024. We see the history of these people, and it make you wonder every time you get in the presence of these people. Even if you're around a whole lot of them at the same time, it's just an awkward moment you feel. You know, you like, hey, it just don't feel right being around a whole lot of them at the same time. It's the history. And another point I want to bring out was, for anybody out there now, they talking about, well, you know, we were the only one, you know, being enslaved, or you know, they're gonna say something crazy, right? When you read Deuteronomy 28, it says that they were brought over here on ship. They never saw their homeland again, and they were sold. Who is that? You can't say it with the Irish people because they can go back to Ireland, so they know what their homeland is. You can't say it with Chinese, Japanese, Korean. They all can go back to their land. The black man, where he gonna go to? Detroit? Birmingham? What we gonna go back to? You can't say that. All these churches got to line up, and they line up only to one people. And again, we'll say it again. You be ignorant if you want to. You just be part of that 2/3 when that time comes.
And the main reason, man, why I think a lot of our people like the scripture you brought out, Hosea 4:6, they reject this knowledge because they know once they accept it, they know it's gonna require them to change. You know what I'm saying? Because I watched the video with Charleston White, and at first Charleston White was earlier he was trying to say we are the Israelites. Then on this video he was saying, man, saying the same thing these brothers saying, man, the hell with that Hebrew Israelite mess, man. I don't want to serve no black God, cause you black that guy, you got to keep commandments. He said, I'd rather serve that white blonde hair, blue-eyed Jesus. You know why? Because I can continue, basically he can continue being wicked. And that's how our people are, man. You know what I'm saying? You serve white Jesus Christ, you can continue smoking, you can smoke, you can continue committing adultery, you continue doing every wicked deed under the sun that you want to. You know what I'm saying? That's what they want to continue to do. They know they acknowledge that the Israelites, they coming to the truth. Now they got to change. That's something our people don't want to do, man. Our people refuse to change. We want to continue to do, you know what I'm saying, what's more comfortable for us, and that's serving white man Jesus, man. Because up on the white man Jesus, you can do what you want to do, and ain't no consequences behind it. You just say, you know what I'm saying, hey, I accept Jesus when you finna die, and you going to hell. That's what they want to believe. And that's the mindset that our people want to stay in, man. They don't want to change. They want to stay being niggas. They stay being at the bottom, man. You got it all.
You on mute, Op?
You on mute, Op?
Oh, I'm sorry. So with this class, I was just trying to go to all the major areas of the world to show in history that the Jews was people of color. And what happened to all them Jews that was people of color? What happened to all of them? What happened now? Today you don't see them, right? What happened to their children? What happened the last 200 years? What happened to all them so-called Jews of color, right? Because I showed you in 1835, the Jew, the Negro, and the Portuguese, they was all, you could see that in one person, right? So what happened to, and is that go back to my point? What was true in 2000 wasn't true in 1950, right? In 1950, you couldn't get on the bus, but you can get on the bus in 2000. In 1900, what was true in 1900 wasn't true in 1950. And that's my point. Like, when you go back through history, man, just because you think it's true don't mean it's true. That's just something that's accepted by society. But the truth is, you are a child of Israel, and as a child of Israel, you need to repent and come back and keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High and the faith of Christ. And that's how you're going to get eternal life. So with that, I'm Kazak. We are the sons of God, and I want to say shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.